a vibey way to kick off the channel. Welcome to the first episode of Moment of Stoke. We will actually be kicking things off by getting stuck straight into a surf shoot out in the water. But before we do, a bit about the channel, what I have in mind for this channel. I get my feelings of Stoke from the water, and so a lot of this content will revolve around the water. Surf photography, water photography, fishing, maybe a few adventures thrown in there, because I am lucky enough to live in a pretty cool part of the world where there's lots of nice places that are accessible for weekend trips. We'll just see where the channel goes. I think a lot of it will be surf and water photography to start off with, and that's what we'll be doing today. Had a really perfect morning down at my local, a lot of familiar guys out, conditions were super clean, so I got out there with my Fuji XT-4 and my water housing. Got a few photos which I will share with you in this video. To start off with, so you can get a vibe for the session, I'm going to roll some footage that I captured, and then after that we'll look at some of my favorite photos from the session. So let's roll the clips.
Gonna fade away. I could be there behind you. These big pieces are too late.
Got it.
As you can tell, heading out for a quick shoot down at the local. Conditions are pretty good. Just a case of getting out there. And then the second trick will be not getting run over by all the other surfers, because there are a bunch of them out here. Let's go. Look at these are dreamy.
So as far as swimming out goes, that was kind of a pretty average day. There was a little bit of a sweep, but it wasn't one of the big days where you really kind of, it's 50-50 between whether you get out or you get swept back around past the rocks and onto the beach. So pretty cruisy in that sense. This was sort of the first one that I really liked, and it's one of the local guys, Troy, sliding down the face of one and just kind of squeezing past this section, which I think is kind of cool. All these shots will pretty much have backlighting, which I'll chat about a little bit later. So I'd say this is pretty much the most stock standard of shots that you get at most of the point breaks around me. The sun's behind the subject, so you get shadows on the subject, but you get some really nice light coming through the waves. This was a little bit of an opportunistic one because I got the shot which I was happy with, ducked under the wave, when I popped up, saw the opportunity for another shot, and you'll see in that shot the difference between the light being behind the subject and hitting the subject between you and the camera. So yeah, keep an eye out for that shot. I was kind of happy with that one. The colors are drastically different. So this is one of the local guys, Tim, getting some time on the nose. I won't keep harping on about the sun because anyone that's shot on the East Coast knows it's a pain, but you might be wondering, how do you avoid that? It does create some really interesting light and shadows, but ultimately if you want to avoid the sun sitting behind your subject, you need to get up earlier, and I wasn't up early enough on this particular morning. Or you need to shoot in the afternoon, which usually the surf conditions deteriorate a bit.
a good run.
There we had Tristan, another regular at this break. That wave was really well surfed. I actually got a few shots from that wave, but I just really like this one of the spray coming up and almost taking him out of view completely. The light hitting the water is really interesting and just a slightly different shot to what you'd normally get. There were some other great shots in that sequence, but this was my favorite. Here we have Troy again. He was pretty much featured mainly in the slow-mo footage at the start. Saw that first photo of him, and here he is again. I really like the fun that he brings to surfing. You can kind of feel it when you're out in the break, and I think that kind of comes through in the photos. Not the best photo, but I really love the fact that there's a subject in the foreground and this kind of stare off that sometimes happens between you and surfers as they're coming down the line. There's always like a level of jealousy there. So I think I counted about 4 people take off on this wave, which can happen at this spot. The lady that's the subject might look like she's dropping in on someone, but I don't know if it counts as dropping in if there were kind of 2 other people behind you that dropped in as well. And she'd actually been waiting the longest for a wave. I actually love the chaos of the shot. Truth be told, of all the action shots I got, this is probably my favorite photo from the session. I thought I was being subtle in pretending to follow a wave and then snapping a photo of this guy because the lighting was really good on his face. Looking back, it wasn't subtle at all, but I really love the photo. He's out all the time. He's a regular at this spot. I don't actually know his name, and I probably should. But yeah, I really love this photo. So when set waves come through like this, you really have to be ready. The first wave was a quick in and out by Troy, and then the second wave, quite a few people looked at it, and Tristan took off in the right spot. You can see people in the foreground trying to scramble out the way, which is pretty cool. And then I got a shot of him just kind of hiding behind the wave as he goes down the line. Then the next wave comes through and some guy takes off really deep, and I get a shot of him kind of pumping down the line and trying to make the section, which I think he did from memory. But yeah, when these sets come through, you have to be ready to try and capture as much of the action as possible, because they can be some of the best waves that come through. So this was one of the last photos that I got that I was happy with. You'll see the lightings got even more harsh. I think this guy's name is Tobias. We're collecting all the T's. So far we've got Troy, Tristan, Tim, Tobias. I'm sure there was probably another one. Getting some time on the nose. I kind of like the lighting in this shot, albeit a bit bright. And yeah, just a fun little wave and a nice shot. And then the last shot of the session. This is Mitch, local shaper, owns a local cafe, just a super nice dude. And he honestly spent so much time on the nose, it'd be impossible for me to not get a good shot of him. I'm pretty sure he's still on the nose as we speak right now. And this is where I wrapped up the session and called it a morning. So yeah, if you made it through to the end, I hope you like this style of video. I've got a few more in the bank by the time you see this one that'll be ready to go. Please let me know in the comments if you have any feedback or any thoughts. I really like these style of videos for POV street photography, so I'm hoping it's interesting for water photography as well. And I know a few guys have already done a really good job of this, so I'm hoping I can add to that content. But yeah, please like this video, subscribe to the channel. I'll continue to bring more of these videos and hopefully plenty more moments of Stoke.